Hello, you're watching Small Business Evolution with me, Kakangcofe. As the world becomes increasingly digital, SMEs are faced with a unique set of challenges that can either make or break their growth. From establishing an online presence to navigating the complexities of compliance and regulations, SMEs are constantly adapting to stay afloat. Joining me to unpack this is Dludlu, CEO of Small Business Institute. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having us.
I'd like us to start off with what are your general concerns regarding the current regulatory landscape, and how do you believe it impacts innovation and growth in this sector?
Yeah, during COVID, we did a study as a Small Business Institute. We produced about 6 papers on how the COVID pandemic was impacting small businesses. And then the second part of the set of papers looked into how SMEs can quickly rebound after the pandemic. And we were very surprised, pleasantly surprised by how much adoption of digitalization had happened during the COVID pandemic in most unlikely quarters, such as the township economy, the rural economy, and of course in the urban economy. And what we found quite disturbing was how far back the regulatory landscape was. They were playing catch up. And what we said to the regulators at the time, can you please just stay away from regulating this creativity and innovation? And They did, I think, because everyone was concentrating on capping the pandemic at the time. And I don't think that is stoppable now. It's still a catch-up game from a regulatory point of view.
Well, we've seen rapid advancements in digital technologies globally. How do you feel South Africa's regulatory framework is keeping pace? And are we in danger of falling behind due to excessive or outdated regulations?
I think the latter are outdated regulations instead of excessive regulations. I think we all have to keep up with what's going on. We should regulate as an enabler instead of stopping things from happening. We should try and enable good conduct. And now we have, for example, I think after a long time, we have the information regulator. The information regulator is there to keep us all ethical and from bad behavior. I don't think at this stage we should be worrying about layering more regulations. We should just ensure that technological advancement is not abused. It can be abused. Like all advancements, like all innovations, it is subject to abuse.
But what specific examples of regulations do you believe are particularly burdensome or counterproductive to the development of the digital economy in South Africa? And maybe touching on the Electronic Communications and Transaction Act, as well as the POPI Act, do you think those need to be revised, or are they balanced?
I think for me, what we need to do is constantly checking whether the regulation is still applicable, whether there is no overlaps, whether it is still relevant. Instead of us just, there is a piece of legislation or a clause called Section 18 of the Small Business Act. Small Business Act, Section 18 basically says before you contemplate a law, regulation, a policy, please do an impact assessment on how it's going to land into the system. And then please talk to the users, talk to the people who are impacted by it, talk to the people who are supposed to be policed by it. Do not do anything that has no impact assessment. Do not do anything that you haven't looked at its relevance and what it enables. If it enables innovation, oh, please, let's go for it. And talk to the people in the ecosystem. What works, what does not work, what harms, what does not harm them.
Many argue that overly stringent regulations create barriers to entry for startups and small players in the digital space. In your view, how does this affect competition and overall dynamicism of the market?
What we have been arguing for is the lighter the regulation, the better. And if we're serious about job creation and we're serious about economic growth in the country, we really have to create almost like an SEZ for the SME environment. What I mean by that is do not layer upon layer regulations, policies, and legislation. Instead, let us treat that segment of the economy as the most important one, as the rock stars of the economy, because all studies show that if you unleash the potential of SMEs, you are likely to get more economic growth, you're likely to get more jobs in the economy. The most successful economies rely on this segment of the economy, whether it's Germany, States, and the rest of Western Europe, for example. So there is something to learn from those jurisdictions.
John, great insights there, which I hope regulatory officers and small businesses are going to learn from in order to grow the market. That was John Dludlu, CEO of Small Business Institute, unpacking the challenges faced by SMEs in today's digital economy. Until next time, goodbye.